The sky was dark and full of stars, shining far above a secret military base on a distant alien planet. The base was busy with scientists and soldiers working on a new kind of technology, a portal that could open a door between two worlds. Door to other places far away from Earth. Inside the laboratory, a tall machine hummed quietly, its lights blinking softly like tiny stars. The scientists prepared carefully, checking every wire and screen. The portal was about to open for the first time. A young alien girl named Lyra stood nearby, her skin shimmering faintly with a soft blue glow. She was from a proud and powerful race known as the Zarian, a race with many secrets and strong rules. Lyra was nervous, but she trusted the scientists. She was told this portal would take her home faster than any spaceship ever could. She stepped slowly into the glowing circle at the center of the machine. The portal started to glow bright green, swirling like a small storm. Suddenly, a sharp crack filled the air, and the portal flickered wildly. The machine shook and sparks flew. The scientists shouted warnings, but it was too late. Lyra felt her body lift from the ground as if she was being pulled by invisible hands. She closed her eyes, but the light was too bright. Then, everything went black. She lost control, and when she opened her eyes again, she was somewhere very different. The cold air hit her skin sharply, and she shivered. She looked down and realized something was wrong. She had no clothes. Her body felt weak and strange, like she had lost energy during the journey. Lyra tried to stand, but nearly fell on the cold metal floor. She was in a small room, with walls made of metal and strange lights glowing dimly. She looked around carefully and saw no windows, no sign of the portal machine she had just used. Then the door opened suddenly, and a man stepped inside. The man was tall and strong, wearing simple clothes and a look of shock on his face. His eyes were wide when he saw Lyra standing there without any clothes. He quickly turned away and pulled a coat from a nearby chair. "Here," he said softly, holding it out to her. Lyra's pride burned inside. She did not want to accept help, especially from a human, a species her people often looked down on as weak and simple. But the cold made her shiver more, and her body needed warmth. Slowly, she took the coat and wrapped it around herself. The man watched her with careful eyes. "Are you okay? Where did you come from?" he asked, his voice gentle but full of confusion. Lyra tried to speak, but her English was weak. The words came out slow and broken. "Portal. Broken. I'm lost," she said softly. The man nodded slowly. "You're safe now." "Oh well. Figure this out," he said, trying to calm her. But inside, he felt the strange weight of the moment. This was not a normal visitor, not someone from Earth. Lyra looked up at him, her eyes shining with fear and anger. She was a princess of her people, trained to be proud and strong. But now she was just a frightened girl, lost in a strange world. She wondered if she would ever return home. The portal that should have brought her safely had failed, and now she was alone. No one knew if the portal would open again, or if she could survive without her people's help. Meanwhile, far away, sensors picked up an unusual energy signal. The portal's unstable exit left a trace, a small beacon that others could follow, back on her home world. Hunters and soldiers began to prepare. A plan to find and capture the lost Zarian princess was starting to form. But here, in this cold room, Lyra and the human man only had each other. Neither one knew what dangers waited outside the metal walls, or how their lives would change forever because of this unexpected meeting. The man helped Lyra sit down on a metal bench and brought her some water. She drank slowly, her eyes still wary but grateful. "I am called Mark," he said. "And you are?" "Lyra," she replied, trying to smile but failing. Her mind was full of questions and fear. What was this place? How could she survive here? Would the portal ever open again? Mark looked at the strange device on the wall that had once been the portal, now silent and dark. "We need to find a way to fix this," he said. "Or maybe find another portal," Lyra nodded weakly, but a cold pain ran through her body. Her strength was fading, and she did not know why. Something was wrong with her, something connected to the portal journey. She leaned her head back against the wall and closed her eyes. The strange feeling in her body made her breath short and fast. Mark watched her carefully, worry growing in his heart. Outside the room, footsteps echoed down the corridor, but neither Lyra nor Mark knew it yet. Their time together had just begun, and soon the dangers that followed the broken portal would catch up with them. For now, the cold metal room was quiet, except for the soft hum of machines and the quiet breaths of two strangers from two very different worlds. The portal malfunction had brought them together, and the story of survival, trust, and unexpected friendship was about to begin. Lyra wrapped the human's coat tightly around her thin body, but the cold in the room did not leave her bones. She looked up at Mark, trying to understand the world she had landed in. Everything was strange: the air, the sounds, the light, sand, most of all, the man who stood before her. Mark watched her carefully, his eyes full of questions. He wanted to help, but he did not know how. The language barrier made every word difficult, and her silence made the moments heavy. She wanted to be strong, to show she was not weak. But her body felt weak and tired, like it had lost a battle it never fought. The portal had taken something from her, something more than just her clothes. Lyra felt strange feelings inside her chest: fear, confusion, and a small hope she tried to hide. Mark could see it in her eyes. The fear of being alone, lost in a world that did not understand her. The door to the room beeped, and Mark stepped quickly to check the corridor. His voice was calm but urgent when he said, "We need to get out of here. It's not safe." Lyra did not ask why, but her heart beat faster. The cold metal walls suddenly felt like a prison, and the small room was a cage. Outside, unknown footsteps grew louder, distant but getting closer. Mark moved to shield Lyra. With his body, his hands trembled slightly, but his voice was firm. "Follow me," he whispered. "I know a place where you can be safe." Lyra hesitated, her pride and fear fighting inside her, but she knew she had no choice. The world outside was too dangerous for her alone. They moved quickly down dark halls, past blinking lights and heavy doors. Mark told her simple words: "Stay close, and don't look back." Lyra's steps were soft but steady. She held the coat tightly, feeling its warmth like a small shield against the cold and fear. As they reached a hidden stairwell, Mark paused and looked at her. "Why did you come here?" he asked quietly. Lyra shook her head, her eyes filled with pain. "Portal broken," she said. "I was not meant to be here." Her voice was low, almost a whisper, but full of meaning. Mark nodded. "We will find a way to fix it," he promised. But deep inside, he knew the truth was not so simple. The alien girl and the human man had become unlikely partners in a strange story. Neither one knew how deep their connection would grow, or what dangers waited in the shadows. Lyra's body still ached, and the strange feelings grew stronger. She felt her strength fading and her need for something she could not name growing urgent. Mark stopped suddenly, his face serious. "You are not alone," he said. "There are others looking for you." Lyra's eyes widened with fear. "Hunters?" she asked, her voice trembling. Mark nodded. "Yes, they want to bring you back." But he did not say what would happen if they caught her. The fear inside Lyra turned to cold fire. Her mind raced with thoughts of capture, punishment, and loss. She knew her people would not forgive her for being found with a human. But now, the only hope was this man, this strange, caring human who had saved her from the cold and darkness. They reached a small room, filled with soft light and simple. Furniture. Mark locked the door behind them and sat beside Lyra. "Rest here," he said gently. "Tomorrow, we will find answers." Lyra closed her eyes, the weight of the day crushing her spirit. Yet somewhere inside, a tiny spark of trust began to grow. Neither of them understood what fate had planned. But one thing was clear. Her unexpected arrival had changed both their lives forever. Asterisk. Days passed, but the danger did not go away. Mark and Lyra stayed hidden in a small safe house far from the military base. Yet, strange feelings grew stronger in Lyra's body she could not explain. She felt weak and cold even when wrapped. In blankets, her breathing sometimes became fast and shallow, as if something inside her was fighting to stay alive. Mark watched her closely. Worried more every day, he tried to find doctors or scientists who could help. But no one believed his story about an alien girl lost from a broken portal. The world outside was full of rules and dangers, and Mark knew they had to keep moving. But Lyra's condition made travel harder. Her skin lost its soft glow, and her strength faded like a dying light. One night, Lyra woke suddenly, her eyes wide with fear. "Hunters," she whispered. "They come for me." Mark sat beside her, holding her trembling hands. "We will stop them," he promised, but inside, he did not know how, unseen to them. In the cold darkness far away, figures moved silently through the shadows. The alien hunters had tracked the portal signal across worlds. Their mission was clear: capture the lost princess at any cost. They carried weapons and strange devices that could find her even in hiding. No place was safe, and no time was theirs to lose. Back in the safe house, Lyra tried to explain her people's rules to Mark. "My body needs touch," she said carefully. "Bonding keeps me alive." Her cheeks reddened, and she looked away. Embarrassed and afraid, Mark did not understand fully, but he saw the truth in her eyes. She was not just sick, she was changing, evolving. Because of the portal's power, he reached out, gently touching her hand. "I will help you," he said simply. "Whatever it takes, for the first time." Lyra felt a small hope rise inside her. The cold fear in her heart began to melt, replaced by trust in this human who was so different from everyone she knew. Suddenly, a loud crash shook the safe house. Alarms blared, and the hunters had arrived. Mark grabbed Lyra's arm. "We have to run," he shouted, pulling her toward a hidden exit. But the hunters were faster. Blocking the stairs with flashing weapons, the chase had begun, and escape seemed impossible. Lyra's eyes glowed faintly in the dark, a power awakening inside her. She whispered strange words in her native tongue, and the air around them shifted. Mark shielded her from the hunter's attack, and together they fought against the impossible. In the chaos, they found a moment to slip through a hidden passage, leading to an old underground tunnel. Breathing hard, Mark looked at Lyra with new respect. "You're stronger than I thought," he said, amazed. Lyra smiled weakly. "I survive because of you," she whispered, but she knew their fight was far from over. The hunters would not stop, and the portal's secret was still lost somewhere, but Mark and Lyra had formed a bond, connection that could change everything. In a world full of danger, they found a strange kind of hope that maybe together they could beat the impossible. The tunnel was cold and damp, but it gave Mark and Lyra a brief moment to catch their breath. Lyra leaned against the wall, her skin pale and trembling. The strange pain inside her was growing stronger, and her body felt heavier than before. Mark watched her with worry, deep in his eyes. "Tell me what's happening to you," he said gently. "I want to help." Lyra looked up, her eyes filled with both fear and hope. "My body is not made for this place," she said slowly. "Without bonding, I lose strength." She hesitated, then added, "Bonding is more than touch. It is life for my kind." Mark frowned, trying to understand what kind of bonding. He asked carefully. She took a deep breath. When my people connect with someone, they share energy, life. Her voice was soft but serious. Without it, I will die. Mark's heart pounded. The weight of her words sinking in, he realized that saving her meant more than hiding or fighting. It meant something no human had ever done before. He had to be her lifeline. Lyra's hands shook as she reached for him. "Will you help me?" She whispered. The room was quiet, except for their breathing. Mark nodded without hesitation. "I will," he said firmly. "We will find a way together." Their hands touched, and a small warmth spread between them, stronger than the cold. Walls around them, suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the tunnel. The hunters were closing in, their footsteps heavy and fast. Mark grabbed Lyra's arm. "We must move," he said urgently. They ran deeper into the underground maze. Twisting through forgotten halls and shadowed rooms, the air grew thick with fear, but also with determination. Lyra's energy flickered like a dying flame, and she stumbled. Mark caught her just in time. "You can't give up now," he said, his voice steady. She looked into his eyes and felt a strange strength return. The bond between them was real, and it was saving her life. For the first time since the portal malfunction, she felt hope instead of despair. As they reached a hidden exit, sunlight spilled into the dark tunnel. The world outside was still dangerous. But it was freedom. Mark helped Lyra step into the light. And together they faced the unknown. The hunters were near, but so was a new beginning. Their journey was far from over. But with every step, their bond grew stronger. Two different worlds, one broken portal, and a secret connection that could change everything. This was just the beginning. The world outside the tunnel was bright, but no less dangerous. Mark led Lyra through quiet streets, watching carefully for any sign of the hunters. The air was heavy with tension, and every shadow seemed to hide a threat. Lyra's steps were slow, her strength fading again. But her eyes held a fierce determination. She was no longer just a lost princess. She was a fighter, suddenly, from the corner of a ruined building. Dark figures appeared, their faces hidden. Under heavy cloaks, weapons glinting in the sunlight, the hunters had found them. Their leader stepped forward. Voice cold and sharp. "Return with us, princess, or face the consequences." Lyra's heart pounded. But she did not back down. She squared her shoulders and met the leader's gaze. Mark moved to stand beside her, ready to defend, but he knew the hunters were more powerful than him. The leader sneered, "You, human, cannot protect her. Come quietly, or we will take her by force." Lyra's voice was steady. "I will never go back to you," she said. "I am free." The hunters laughed cruelly, and the air grew thick. With danger, without warning, Lyra's body began to glow softly, the light spreading from her skin like a gentle fire. She whispered words in her own language, and the ground beneath them trembled. Mark watched in awe as the power inside her grew, stronger and more alive. The hunters faltered. Fear touching their faces for the first time, Lyra took a step forward, her eyes shining with a fierce light. "You will not take me," she said, "not while I stand with him." Mark felt the warmth of her power and knew she was fighting for more than herself. She fought for a future where she could be free, where their worlds could meet without fear. The hunters retreated slowly, knowing this battle was lost for now. Mark and Lyra stood together in the empty street, their breaths heavy but their spirits unbroken. "We must find the portal technology," Mark said. "Before they come again." Lyra nodded, feeling the strength return to her body with every heartbeat. Their fight was far from over, but they were no longer alone. Together, they would face the dangers ahead, and maybe, just maybe, find a way to change their destinies forever. The night was quiet, but heavy with secrets. Mark and Lyra sat close in a small, safe room hidden from the world. Lyra's body was slowly healing, but her eyes carried a deep worry. She knew she had to tell him the truth, everything about her people, and the terrible price of her freedom. She took a deep breath and spoke slowly. "I am not just a lost princess," she said. "I am chosen to carry the future of my people." Mark listened carefully, his heart beating faster. "Your people?" he asked. "What do you mean?" Lyra looked down, her hands trembling. "My people are ruled by strict laws," she explained. "The royal bloodline must stay pure, and I was meant to join a great ceremony to create new leaders." Her voice was low but firm. "If I am with a human, both of us face death." Mark's eyes widened, the weight of her words crushing him. "They would kill you?" he whispered, anger and fear mixing inside him. "They do not forgive." Lyra said softly, "My freedom here is dangerous for both of us." She reached out and touched his hand. "But with you, I feel alive," she said. "You saved me from death more than once." Mark squeezed her hand gently. "Then, I promise," he said, "I will protect you no matter what." Outside, the distant sound of sirens broke the silence. A new threat was coming, one that could destroy their fragile peace. Mark stood up quickly. "We must move soon," he said. "Before they find us again." Lyra nodded, her strength returning with every word. "There is a place," she said, "a hidden lab where the portal's secrets are kept. If we reach it, maybe we can open the way home." Together, they planned their journey, knowing the road ahead was full of danger and betrayal. But in their eyes, a fierce hope burned, a hope to change fate, to rewrite the rules, and to find a future where they could be free. Their bond was no longer just survival, it was something deeper, something worth fighting for. And with that hope, they stepped into the night, ready to face whatever came next. The journey to the hidden lab was long and full of danger. Mark and Lyra moved through forests and abandoned roads, always looking over their shoulders. The hunters were closer than ever, their shadow growing darker with every step, but the bond between the human and the alien girl had grown stronger, giving them strength to keep going. At last, they reached a strange building buried beneath the earth. The entrance was guarded by old machines, silent but powerful. Lyra's heart raced as she touched the cold metal walls. "This is the place," she whispered, "where the portal can be opened again." Mark nodded, pulling out a small device he had found on their journey. It was the key to unlocking the ancient technology, but it needed power, and time was short. Together, they worked quickly, their hands moving in sync, hope and fear mixing in the air. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the building. The hunters had found them, breaking through the defenses with cruel determination. Mark grabbed Lyra's hand. "We have to finish this now," he shouted. The portal began to hum, its lights flickering alive with a final burst of energy. The portal opened, a swirling doorway between worlds. Lyra looked at Mark, her eyes full of tears. "I will go," she said, "but I cannot leave." "You behind," Mark smiled. "Then I go with you." They stepped together into the light, leaving behind the danger, the hunters, and the cold metal cages on the other side. A new world waited, a world of unknowns and new chances. Their story was far from over, but they had won their first battle. Together, they were more than human, an alien, more than hunter and hunted. They were partners in a universe that suddenly seemed full of hope. And as the portal closed behind them, the future shone bright with possibility.